We have a protocol in Tongass National Forest that isn't written anywhere official. It exists only in whispered conversations between rangers, passed down from veterans to rookies during late-night shifts. The rule is simple. Never patrol the interior zones alone. Always pairs, minimum. They tell you it's about bears, about the remoteness, about safety redundancy in America's largest national forest. That's the official line. But after your first encounter with the congregation, you learn the real reason. And you never question the buddy system again. My name is Thomas Raven, and I've been a wilderness ranger in Tongass National Forest, Alaska, for 12 years. My grandmother was Tlingit, and she used to tell me about the Kushtaka, shapeshifters that lured people into the forest with the faces of loved ones. I thought they were stories to teach children caution around the wilderness. Then I met someone who joined the congregation. Someone I used to work with. It was October 2022. I was partnered with a rookie named Jessica Mills, fresh from Arizona, still adjusting to the perpetual rain and the darkness that comes early this far north. We were checking remote cabins along Admiralty Creek, coordinates 57.0634 Dgn, 134.4251 DEW, deep in the interior where the old-growth Sitka spruce grows so dense you can't see the sky. "Why the buddy system?" Jessica asked as we hiked. "I get it for grizzly country, but this seems excessive." "You'll see," I said. "It's what we all say, because explaining the congregation to someone who hasn't seen it is like describing color to someone born blind." We found the first sign at an abandoned hunting cabin 3 miles in. The door was open, which was wrong. Rangers always secure these structures. Inside, someone had carved symbols into the walls. Not graffiti, deliberate marks, repeated in patterns. Spirals and lines that hurt to look at too long. "Vandalism?" Jessica suggested. "No, I'd seen these marks before. We're leaving, now." That's when we heard the singing. It came from deeper in the forest, east of our position. Multiple voices in harmony, but the melody was wrong. Discordant notes that shouldn't work together but somehow did. And the language wasn't English, wasn't Tlingit, wasn't anything I recognized. Jessica took a step toward the sound. "Should we investigate? Could be hikers in distress." I grabbed her arm. "That's what they want you to think. We go back to the trail. We radio for pickup. We do not investigate." But it was too late. They'd heard us. The singing stopped. Then my former partner stepped out from behind a massive spruce. David Chen, missing for 8 months. Presumed dead after disappearing during a solo patrol in this exact area. "Tommy," he said, smiling, "I knew you'd come eventually." He looked wrong. His skin was too pale, his eyes too bright. His ranger uniform hung on him like he'd lost 40 pounds. But his movements were fluid, energetic, and he was barefoot despite the October cold. "David?" My hand moved to my radio. "Jesus Christ, David, where have you been? We searched for weeks." "I've been right here, waiting, learning." He gestured to the forest behind him. "They're teaching us, Tommy, about the old ways, about what the forest really is." Jessica had her radio out. "Base, this is Ranger 7-3. We have a found person, David Chen, requesting immediate extraction." David moved impossibly fast, covering 20 feet in what seemed like a single step. He gently took the radio from Jessica's hand. She didn't resist, couldn't. His touch had frozen her in place. "No extractions," David said softly. "Not yet. You need to understand first. You need to see." He whistled, a sharp, clear note. And they came. People emerged from the forest, dozens of them. Some I recognized, hikers reported missing over the years, other rangers who'd vanished on patrol. Others were strangers, wearing clothes from different decades, different eras. A woman in 1970s hiking gear. A man in what looked like Gold Rush-era clothing. A child in a dress that could have been from the 1800s. All of them barefoot. All of them with that same too pale skin and too bright eyes. All of them smiling. "The congregation grows larger every year," David said. "The forest calls to certain people. Those who listen, who really listen, hear the truth beneath the rain and the wind. There's something old here, Tommy, older than the Tlingit, older than humans, and it's been waiting." "David, you're sick." Hypothermia, starvation, something, we need to get you help. But even as I said it, I knew it was a lie. Whatever David was now, he wasn't sick. He was changed. I'm clearer than I've ever been. He turned to Jessica, who stood frozen, trembling. She'll join us. I can see it in her. She's already listening to the songs. No, I said, pulling my sidearm. We're leaving, both of us. David didn't even look at the gun. You can't kill what we've become, Tommy. We're part of the forest now. We're what happens when you stop fighting it and start listening. He paused. Your grandmother understood. Why do you think the Tlingit stayed out of certain areas? They knew the Kushtaka weren't shapeshifters. They were the first congregation. The ones who joined before, there were words for it. The others started circling us, closing in slowly, not threatening, inviting. Their faces held no malice, only a terrible patience. I fired a warning shot into the air. The sound echoed and died. None of them flinched. Run, I told Jessica. Back to the trail. Now. But she wasn't moving. Her eyes were glazed, unfocused. Do you hear that? She whispered. The singing. It's beautiful. It's telling me. I slapped her. Hard. Her eyes cleared, shocked. Run! This time she moved. We crashed through the undergrowth, branches tearing at our clothes, my pack bouncing against my spine. Behind us, the congregation followed. Not running, walking with that same patient, inevitable pace. Like they had all the time in the world because they knew we couldn't escape. I keyed my radio. Base, this is Ranger 5-2. Emergency extraction needed. Coordinates. I rattled them off. Multiple hostile contacts. Send armed response. Copy that, 5-2. Helicopter inbound. ETA 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We just had to survive 20 minutes. The singing started again, louder now, coming from all directions. I realized they weren't chasing us. They were herding us, driving us deeper into the interior, away from the trail. Tommy, I can hear it, Jessica gasped. The song, it's in my head. It's telling me to stop running, to join them, that I'll finally understand. Don't listen. Think about home. Think about Arizona, the desert, the heat, anything but the forest. We burst into a clearing, and I felt a moment of hope. Open space, clear sky visible above. Then I saw what was in the center. A massive Sitka spruce, easily 200 feet tall, its trunk so wide 10 people couldn't encircle it. But it wasn't the size that stopped me cold. It was what hung from the branches. Hundreds of objects, shoes, clothing, backpacks, gear, all the missing pieces from all the disappeared people over the years. Trophies, offerings, evidence. And at the base of the tree, carved deep into the bark in symbols that predated language, an invitation. David appeared at the tree line, the rest of the congregation behind him. This is where it lives, he said reverently, where it's always lived. The forest isn't just trees, Tommy. It's alive, conscious, and lonely. So lonely. We keep it company now. You're prisoners, I said. We're family, David corrected. And you could be too. Your grandmother's blood makes you perfect for this. The old bloodlines hear the songs clearest. The helicopter's rotors cut through the air. Salvation, minutes away. David looked up, disappointed. They're taking you. But you'll come back, Tommy. Now that you know, now that you've heard even a little of the song, it'll call to you. Every shift, every patrol, you'll want to go deeper. To understand. To join. The helicopter landed in the clearing. Armed rangers jumped out, surrounding Jessica and me. There, I pointed at the congregation. David Chen and dozens of missing persons. But when we all looked, the forest was empty, just trees and rain and shadows. The carved symbols on the great spruce had vanished. Even the offerings in the branches were gone. The rescue team thought I'd experienced exposure-induced psychosis. Jessica backed up my story, but they blamed shared delusion, cabin fever. We were both put on administrative leave, sent for psychiatric evaluation. I passed. Barely. Returned to duty with a note in my file and knowing glances from the other veterans. Here's what I didn't tell the psychiatrist. I still hear it sometimes, faint, under the sound of rain on my cabin roof, under the wind through the spruce, a song without words, calling me deeper into Tongass. And I know I'm not alone in hearing it. Every ranger who's worked here long enough knows the song. We just don't talk about it because talking about it makes it stronger, makes it harder to resist. That's why we never patrol alone, because one ranger can fight the urge to follow the song. But alone? Alone, you start to think it might not be so bad. That maybe David was right. That maybe joining would feel like coming home. The congregation grows larger every year. We find empty camps, abandoned gear, tracks leading into the deep interior that don't come back out. The official number of missing persons in Tongass is 37 over the past decade. But I've seen the congregation. There are hundreds, maybe thousands, all waiting patiently in the deep woods, tending to something ancient that lives in the roots and earth and rain. David was right about one thing. I came back to Tongass after my leave, because running would mean I'd spent the rest of my life wondering. At least here I can stand guard. I can warn the rookies. I can enforce the buddy system. And when the song gets too loud in my head, when I catch myself planning a solo patrol into the interior, I call in sick. Take a few days in Juneau, stay near people and noise and civilization until the urge passes, because I know what waits in the deep forest. I've seen their faces, peaceful, patient, changed. And some nights, when I'm alone and the rain is heavy and the song is loud, I understand why they chose to join. But not yet. Not yet.